All right, so we're recording. We're live recording here. Um, this is a special Mother's Day episode of the women behind the men behind the mic, and you are the number one woman behind this man behind this mic. So, for people that are watching or listening, I'm sitting here. It's Lance today. No Matt here, and I've got my mom. Her name is Marlene, otherwise known as Mama D. For those of you watching, there's a little bit of a glare in her glasses. Get over it. There's
You
not
want me
much
to
we could
take 'em
do
off?
about it. No, you're good.
Okay.
So, Mom, why don't you say hi?
Hi,
There it is.
I'm
Short and
here.
sweet, just a hi. So, Mother's Day is a super special day where people like to uh, honor their mothers. And so, Matt and I talked about doing this for a while. This was one of the little surprises that we had where we wanted to get our moms on here, and then we're also going to have our wives on here as a special. So today we're going to talk to my mom. We're going to ask her some questions and see see what she thinks about her son here. So, Mom, are you excited?
Excited and nervous.
Are you what are you nervous about?
Emotional?
Emotional?
Being
You th-
emotional?
yeah, why?
Because you've come a long ways?
Yeah, you're already
Yep,
emotional, Mom.
I'm already there.
We haven't even asked any questions. So let's. I wasn't. I was an oops baby, wasn't I?
Yes.
I was a big oops.
You
I
are actually, let's put it as it was what the hell did you say? Because no, I was actually going to have a hysterectomy and found out I was pregnant with him. Needless to say, it didn't go over real well, but my world wouldn't be the same without him.
That's exciting. It wouldn't be the same. It
No.
could be easier. You might be a millionaire if it wasn't for me. Who knows?
I might have a lot more money if it wasn't for you. Yeah, I'll agree
Well,
with that.
I'm like a really nice coffee pot. I'm expensive, but I'm worth it. I use that coffee pot analogy here because I just got a new coffee pot and it's a Ninja coffee pot. It's really good. My wife was talking crap about it, but it's incredible. So yeah, I was an oops baby. I'm the youngest of the three of us that came from mom's womb. There's others, but they didn't come from your womb.
No.
There's three of us that came, and I was the absolute last one. And I was probably, would you say I was the hardest baby?
Yes.
I was a tough baby.
It was a tough baby. We almost lost him. So that's where the toughness started, I would say. If it
Quit
wouldn't
breathing, wasn't it? Like
Yep,
two
if it
weeks, something like that.
wouldn't have
Two
been
weeks
for his
home.
brother walking by and noticing something was wrong, he probably wouldn't have made it.
Didn't he run into Dad's room and say
Yep,
Lancer's blue?
yep. He said, baby's blue, baby's blue." And yeah.
Thought it was blue.
Yep, he quit breathing and they didn't know why. They put him on all kinds of monitors and we never did really figure out. I just started to say that was how Lance was going to be.
It was tough. Yeah, I kept people on their toes.
Yes.
So,
We'll say that, yes.
and then I had stitches twice before I
Yeah.
was 5, wasn't it?
You before you were 2.
Before I was 2,
Yep. In front of your head and the back of your head.
and it was the exact
Fell and
same
hit the
situation, wasn't it?
same thing, doing the same thing.
We put up a new entertainment center, and
Yep.
I hit my head on it, and then we moved to a new house.
Put it back up.
Put it back up. I spun in circles in the living room, and I fell
Yeah.
and hit my head on the same thing.
Yep.
So, and then I got stitches on my chin in kindergarten.
Yep.
Because I could tell you this story. It was Lincoln Elementary in Hastings, and they had like the wooden log
Mhm.
playground, and then they had like a concrete retaining wall type thing. And I remember I was pretending I was Wolverine, and I was jumping back and forth from the logs to the concrete, back and forth. And at one point, I jumped from the concrete to the logs, and I put my fist like this, and I really thought that the claws were going to come out. And when they didn't come out, my hand slipped off the log, and I bashed my chin straight into it, split it wide open.
Yep.
Had to go get stitches. So
Yep,
I got a lot of stitches. That was a lot of work. I swallowed a quarter, second grade. I still have that quarter. It's
yep,
upstairs in my office. It's
yep.
my was it 8,000?
Twelve
12,000?
thousand dollar
$12,000
quarter.
quarter. I have a $12,000 quarter. It's black from the stomach acid and it became an ulcer and it was all kinds of trouble.
Yeah. Once again, he was not a simple child.
Not at all.
And
So mom and dad divorced when I was 9. And we've talked a bit about the story on here. So we're not going to dive into that at all. But mom remarried when I was how old? 12.
well,
She got remarried to the guy that was my dad. My real dad. We have a great relationship now. My biological father, but he wasn't really much of a dad. From gosh, how do you know how old I was? He was like a stay at home dad for a little while, wasn't he?
yeah, because I worked 3 jobs.
So mom worked her butt off. Dad was a stay at home dad. I feel like I remember him being a good dad at some point, but not. There was always a lot of alcohol involved. So that's why that didn't work out. New dad, like dad, the one who raised me, the one that took me fishing, took me camping, uh, taught me how to shoot basketball. I mean, everything that a dad would do for you, he did. She met him when I was 9, and we lost him in 2005, and that's when my drug addiction started. Right?
Yep.
How'd that go?
Whew. Um, hell,
Yeah.
hell. Easiest way to put it.
Do you remember when I first started doing drugs? Was it 2009 ish when I got out of prison? I went to prison for burglaries, which what was that like? Your baby going to prison?
That was probably one of the hardest moments in my life, um, because I always felt like I failed you. I now know that it wasn't my fault, but back then, I always thought if I could have been a better mom, you wouldn't have done it. I know you made the choices, but didn't make it any easier.
I just remember the first time you didn't bail me out of jail.
That
uh,
was probably
that was drug addiction.
yeah,
That was drugs.
yeah.
I I'll from when I got out of I went to prison the first time for breaking and entering into houses. I was stealing alcohol from garages. Um, Went to prison, had 3 to 4 years. I did 22 months.
22 months.
Yeah,
So,
because my jam number was 24 months, and I ended up doing 22 of those 24 months. And what I learned in prison was that rather than just doing drugs at parties, I could sell the drugs and do them for free. So
mm,
that's what I actually got my first like big drug connection was from prison. So it was like drug selling 101 when I went to prison. So when I got out and got off probation or parole, I started selling drugs, started using a lot of them. Um, and once I got into the meth game, things got really bad really fast.
really escalated.
I was probably in jail every other week or month. I mean, sometimes I guess I was probably in jail 2, 3 times a week between jail and emergency room.
Yeah, I was gonna say there was a lot of hospital visits in between there.
Yeah. Was that when I would try to stop doing the drugs?
Yes.
My body would start to.
And your body would shut down and I would freak and yeah.
What was it the doctor told you the one time when I was it you asked him if how to stop it from happening, the withdrawing or something? Maybe that was Ashley that told me about that.
I don't
I think that was Ashley. We'll have to
there
ask
was
her.
so many all I remember doctor-wise was when you were when Travis found you in the treehouse.
No, when I overdosed.
when you overdosed. That was the only conversation that sticks in my head, always. When got to the hospital and he said, "What you see when you go in there, you need to prepare yourself." And 2 of the officers were there and walked in with me, and you were on all kinds of stuff, and the doctor said, "The drug is gonna kill him if he doesn't realize it. It's gonna take your child." And all I asked was, "What can I do?" He said, "Unfortunately, it's in his hands." And I said, "But his hands aren't working right now." So, and it was your sister had flown back to be with me, and she, of course, lectured me on what I needed to do to get strong because I always gave in. And she just kept telling me I had to do something different, that I couldn't keep giving you everything so that you could keep doing what you were doing. And it still took many times after that because I kept doing it.
I think that kind of started when we lost dad. Because was Tosh still in the house? Or was it just me?
It was just you.
Tosh was off at college.
Yep.
Nick was
Nick was
was he in Columbus? Or was he
he was
I don't remember.
Nick and Danielle got married
Really shortly after we lost dad, right?
shortly after. Yeah, because they got married out. Yeah. So he was in Columbus when you started the drugs.
Right. But I'm saying when we lost dad, 2005, where was Nick? I know
Nick
Tosh was off in college. Was Nick with
Nick was
Danielle?
yes, Nick was
Lived with her?
would have been yes, they would have been already together.
So I was the only one in the house, right?
Yep. Yep.
So I think that's where it was so hard for you with letting go of like not stopping the enabling part of it was because
Because I didn't wanna lose you.
I was always there.
Yeah.
And even if it wasn't like in the best possible way or the healthiest way, I was still there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that probably made it pretty hard to leave me in jail when I went.
Yeah.
I remember calling her like crazy because I never, anytime I got locked up, mom always bailed me out.
Yeah.
If she could have bailed me out of prison, she would have bailed me out of prison.
I would've. I definitely would've.
Yep. So that was a huge thing for me. And my addiction was realizing that I wasn't able to do that anymore. I wasn't going to get out of it anymore.
Yeah.
When you stopped bailing me out, I knew I was in trouble. I remember calling and begging, man.
Yeah. Yeah. I
I was coming down off of meth and stuck in jail, and everything was bad at that time. So then once mom said no more, it made it even worse, made it way worse.
that wasn't easy.
And then Ashley came, and I still kept doing what I was doing. For some reason, she stayed with me.
Yeah, I remember telling her, "Run, run, run as fast as you can," because she was a nice young lady, and I didn't want the life of the drugs to take over, and then they told me they were pregnant, and that was, oh, great, and then they told me they were having twins, and I was, "Oh, Lord, she's never leaving." And then it was like, "Now you can't leave because he's yours." I'm done,
Yeah,
but I'm glad she stayed to get the good part of you now.
yeah. So things are different now than they were then, huh?
Things are night and day different. Night and day different. I couldn't be more proud of you. I couldn't be more proud of your decision making now. Your decision making is so much better now without the drugs.
Yeah. It's actually 8 years yesterday.
Yes. Oh, and I
2
got
days
your
ago.
cone.
No, 2 days ago. It was the 6th.
It was the
May 6th was the last time I've abused any sort of drug. That's 8 years ago. 2014. I
I never thought I'd hear you say that ever.
8 years.
8 years.
That's amazing. We don't really celebrate my sobriety dates or anything a lot, and I think we should. We should probably start it, especially for newcomers. I think it's really important that you celebrate those birthdays. You celebrate it. It's not. I guess we don't make a huge deal about it just because it's just the way it is now. I mean, I don't use drugs. That's it. Like that's a past part of me. It's something I don't do anymore, and I guess I say like it's not that big a deal anymore, but it's a huge
It's a
deal.
huge deal.
So to be 8 years clean when I couldn't go more than a day without it before, and I wouldn't have if it wasn't for jail, prison, getting
The
locked
last
up.
time.
Yeah, I went to treatment
Oh,
so many times.
yeah, I'd be rich.
So many times I went to treatment and never, never got it to work.
Never took it, never grasped it.
No,
You
the one
used
time, the
it.
very first time I went, was I 14 or 15
15.
when Dad took me?
Yep.
Yeah, because you guys got a call from the police department in Kearney,
Yep.
and I was found beat to crap in a parking lot
Yep.
by the guy who owned this. Was it Super Saver or like Sun Mart or something like that?
Yeah.
It was some little grocery store, and I remember waking up in that parking lot to some Asian dude that owned the place and called the police, and they came and got me, and mom and dad came and got me from the jail and took me. Well, I guess the police department, not the jail. I wasn't in jail, but
Yeah.
took me straight to treatment from there. That was my first time going.
Didn't work.
Didn't work. I didn't stay sober for more than probably 30 days, but I kept celebrating my birthdays, and I think that's one of the reasons why I don't do them now. Is that first time I celebrated so many fake birthdays.
Birthdays.
So I got what 9 months worth of chips
Chip.
before we lost dad
Yep.
later,
Yep.
and then I didn't care anymore. I stopped lying about birthdays then and just
Yeah. Yeah. Well, then we kind of could tell by your actions and what you were doing and hanging out with.
got worse and worse.
And worse until you hit, well, I'll say bottom, my bottom, to where I finally said, I'm done. As a parent, that's not easy to do. The other kids always said I was going to bury you, but it was going to be my fault.
All for enabling me.
Yep. For giving you the means to get the drugs. But
Which
I didn't see it that way.
I mean, I was gonna get him regardless. You just made it easier.
Yeah. Yeah. Made it a lot easier for
Yeah.
you.
You remember when the SWAT team came
Oh,
across the
yeah.
street?
Yes, I do. When you guys were hiding in the couch,
I wasn't. I was in the closet.
as Zach was in the
Chippy
couch.
Chippy was in the couch.
Yeah.
He was
And I
inside the
opened the door
cushions.
and said, "Please don't shoot. I will come out. You can come in my house." And that was, I have a very good relationship with the officers. I always have. Um, the one, he had talked with the SWAT team and said, "Please, she's I'm scared of guns." And to see all these guns pulled on my child was horrific, but that wasn't the last time either. I kept doing it. I kept going to bat for him, I guess you could say.
I think the last time was when you called the police on me, wasn't it?
Yep.
And I didn't know that you called the police
Yep.
until I was in prison.
Yep.
Ashley told me.
Yep.
So for the longest time, I thought they just showed up with a warrant. I didn't know you called them.
Nope. I called them.
But I remember waking up. I remember laying in bed, and it was your bed. But I was laying in your bed with Ashley, and I woke up, and she said not to freak out. She said they're behind you, and I rolled over, and there was like 4 or 5 of them,
Yep.
and they all had guns drawn, and
Yep.
they thought I was gonna try to fight them, and they were scared. They knew Ashley was sitting there pregnant, so they couldn't really, I mean, do much. But I didn't fight them. I just went. Was that when I passed out in the car
Yep.
and then ended up back in the hospital for
Yep.
a few days? And then I went to treatment, didn't I?
Yep.
They put me on the 7th floor.
Yep.
It was the behavioral services unit, Mary Landing, which is where the crazy people go. And I was definitely one of them. I spent, how long was I on the 7th floor that time? Not very long. It wasn't
It
that long
wasn't
that time.
long.
That was the second time up there. First time I was up there 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Next time I was up there
I
just a
don't
few,
think yeah, it wasn't very long before.
I think it was a couple weeks before they put me back over to the jail and then took me to treatment from there. Or did I go straight to treatment?
Now I think you went back to
I
jail
went
and
back
then
to jail
treatment.
for a few days
Mhm.
until my bed was open up in treatment. And then I went to treatment, which was really cool. That was a that was my last time in treatment, and that went really great. I learned a lot. I got a lot out of it, but I didn't stay clean afterwards. I think my big thing was I had this huge barrier between what I thought and myself, like what I thought I was, and I had no real belief in God. I believed in a God of some
Right.
sort, but I didn't. I mean, I think I was pretty much that God. Like I thought I was the God.
You thought you were the god, which I could see that now.
So that time in treatment, it went okay, but I used my higher power. I used my stepdad that had passed away, and that didn't work 'cause he wasn't the higher power. So praying and everything, I didn't know how to do it. I wasn't good at it. And when I went to prison the last time was when I started to really find God. What did you think of all that when I started to learn? And
At first, I didn't know if I really believed it. You had gotten so good at playing, I'll say playing the game, and I had everyone over here saying, "He's just doing it. Once he gets out, it's gonna go back to the same thing. Keep strong, don't give in." And then I had everybody over here saying, "Give him the chance, he can change." So I was kinda caught in the middle, and I mean, I visited all the time. Um, I saw a difference this time, so I would leave from there and I would say, "He's different. He's not the same." And they would all say, "He's gonna do the same thing when he gets out." And I just kept saying and praying, "I hope you're wrong. I hope I'm right." That's all I kept saying. "I hope you're wrong. I hope I'm right." And I was.
so the girls were born in August 26th, 2014. And you got them a little house for me to parole to.
Yep.
I was getting out on parole. I had to go. Ashley and I got married when I was in prison, and mom got us a house, and that's where I was able to parole to. Well, I got to do home visits.
Got to do home
Yeah, it was
visits
like weekend
first.
stays
Yep.
first from work release.
Yep.
So then I was able to parole to the house. And were you nervous?
I was very nervous. And I had spoke with the officers and the detectives, and I was like, "One thing, if you see his name come up on anything, I want you to tell me because if he does it this time, I'm done." And they were like, "Mhm, that's what you said." It's like, "I know, but one thing, just one time. I don't care if it's out of somebody's mouth. I wanna know." And there was nothing. And then we had those people that were saying, "Now that you're doing so well, that you're back." And it's like, you know
It,
what? Blow smoke.
it's 8 years later, and I just found out that I'm selling drugs again. Matt and I talked about it a few weeks ago. So we found
Yeah.
out that I'm selling drugs again. So I don't think that's ever going to go away. Matt and I
No.
talked about that. We could put my name on a billboard. I
Billboard?
could be
Yeah.
just amazing
Yeah.
doing everything away from drugs, and people are still going to be like, nah, he's still using. He's using drugs.
Yeah. He's
We
dealing.
talked about that once you start getting healthy and losing some weight. It's like, oh, back on drugs again. So I don't know that we'll ever outgrow that.
I hope
So
you do.
I don't think it will.
You
I'll be
don't?
40. I'll be in my late 40s. Another 15 years down the road, and people are still going to say that I'm selling drugs or something. I'm sure
Let's hope not.
there will be people. I think it's jealousy.
There is a lot of that.
So
Yeah. There is a lot of that.
I think as long as I'm giving people a reason to be jealous, they're going to accuse me.
Which
So,
is sad.
which is also fine though.
Right.
So
Yeah, it is.
the better I do, the
The
more mad
more they
people
get.
get, the more jealous they get, the more they'll talk bad. So that's
Yeah.
fine. It just
As a
makes them
parent
look
now,
stupid.
it goes in one ear and out the other now. So,
Yeah, at work, you used to have people coming in all the time talking about how
yeah.
I was doing bad, right?
Yep.
Now what?
Now they come in and check. Yeah, I haven't heard anything about him lately. You're not going to. Don't use his name. Don't let it come out your lips. I don't want him associating with you. And they all look at me like, well, that's kind of rude. Mhm. Just stating it as it is. Leave him alone. He's doing good. I couldn't be prouder.
I'm doing okay.
No, you're doing. I sleep at night and I don't worry.
Yeah, what's that like?
Hell.
Phone calls in the middle of the night,
Yep.
either to bail me out or
The phone would ring and I'd say a little prayer, please, when I answer this phone, don't have them tell me that he's dead or that they found your body somewhere. I don't worry about that. Not at all.
I think we're gonna have to play a prank on you sometime. We
That
call
is not
from
even
a
nice.
random number and
No. No, I would just hang up and call Ashley. So
right.
I would
Ash,
hang
is
up.
this true? Is he
Ashley,
really gone? Where's he
Ashley,
at?
where is he?
Where
Please
is
tell
he?
me. Yeah, no,
We probably shouldn't do that to you.
no, probably not. That's not
Have you
nice.
seen those pranks where people will do like the voice changer and call and say, "This is a collect call
Yeah,
from the something county
yeah,
jail."
yeah.
You'd probably just hang up because
I would
it
probably
wasn't the
hang up.
secure. You'd be like, "No, it's not. I know what those calls sound like." Click.
Yeah, yeah, no,
This isn't a real
no,
call.
no, I'm used to those calls.
So,
Or
so
Weber calling me. Yeah,
yeah,
oh, yeah.
life is better now,
I wonder.
all the way around. Life
Oh,
is
yeah, and praise be to God.
yep. That's why I talk a little bit about it, but not a whole lot about it. That's what really, really, really changed me. And a lot of people uh, they disagree in the program, on the higher power, saying you can have anything as your higher power as long as you have a higher power. It could be a doorknob, it could be a rock, but that's just that couldn't possibly be further from the truth. So there's one higher power, and that is God, Jesus, and that's what changed me and changed my life, and that's 100% the reason why I'm here today. That's 100% the reason that my wife got with me. Was It wasn't just that she was stupid. It was that God had a purpose for her in my life and for us, and moving forward, our kids and everything we want to do, the lives we want to try to change, the people we want to try to help. God's going to use us and use that, use us for that. So 100% owe it all to God.
Mhm, very much so.
You have anything you want to say? Questions, Mom?
Well, we touched on, um, when dad was killed and how our lives changed. Do you think back then, had we had more spiritual I'm gonna call it spiritual grounding, that would have maybe changed?
Me and what
Yes.
I did?
And what you not turning to drugs? I mean, I know you were already drinking and doing that life, but
I
I don't
think
know.
you and Dad tried pretty hard to get us kids to go to church and to believe in something. I remember he bought me my first Bible,
Mhm.
and it was a teenage study Bible,
Yeah,
and I remember reading it and going through it, and I think it's Jonah and the whale. I read that and was like, "This is stupid.
yeah.
This is dumb." And then I took it with me to see my biological father for a weekend, and he told me why it was all dumb and how it was all
Yeah.
wrong and how none of it was true and it was just a book and a bunch of made up stories. And I was like, "Yeah, you're right. This is stupid science." So I don't know. I think it would have been really hard if I would have had a spiritual grounding. Life would have been completely different. I would have been able to handle that situation much better than I did. But given the circumstances and everything fighting against a spiritual grounding, I think that was pretty unlikely for me to have any sort of spiritual
Right.
grounding. So I had my real dad, who was very into science, didn't believe in God, didn't believe in the Bible at all. We still don't talk much about it. It's one of those people that says, "Well, if it works for you, that's great," but it's
Yeah.
which can be
Yeah.
frustrating when you're dealing with people like that don't believe, and it's tough, especially when they're loved ones and they're people that you would love to see have that relationship with God, something that's been so huge in the transformation of your life that you want others to experience that transformation as well. But some people just don't want to, and that's tough. And to trust God with that and know that it's on them, not you, is pretty hard to do sometimes. So having the spiritual grounding that I have now, if I would have had this relationship with God, I would have been fine.
You would have dealt with it a lot different.
Yeah. And I do deal with
I
things a
agree
lot
with
differently today than I did then. I can deal with loss, I can deal with stress, I can deal with difficult situations unlike I've ever been able to. And that's because of my faith and my trust in God, and people I have in my life today aren't people that are like, "Well, you had a bad day, let's get high." So
which is a blessing that
that
you don't
makes
have people like that in your life today.
that makes it a little easier to
That's
not get high.
yeah. That was the only thing that I always wonder about, um, if the spiritual part would have been there back then, had our lives, you know, gone through the same thing. It would have been different.
It would have been way different.
It would have been different.
Way different. So for me, I think that's one of the reasons why we try to teach our kids as much as we can about God.
Right.
We
Right.
don't force our beliefs down them, but that's the only way they're gonna learn. We pass on our beliefs to them. I didn't have that passed on to
No.
me, so I teach my kids. They know the truth. If it's not just some made up stuff. Noah has pretty strong faith. Kid'll pray before he eats a piece of candy. So he they trust God. They believe in God. And I think that's because of I know that's because of what
Oh, yeah.
we've taught them and what we've shown them. It's what they've seen. So it's hard to deny it when you've experienced it so much.
Yeah.
So
I
I think
agree with
that's one of
that.
the other things that's super frustrating with other people in our lives is like, how can you not believe when
All this has
you've
happened,
seen
and
so much?
there's no other there's no other explanation other than it's a God.
Hmm.
I mean, there really isn't. There's I mean, I know it's not every day you get up, and I know that the addiction is still there, and I know you know it's still there, but for you to be doing what you need to do, you wouldn't be able to do it without God.
Right.
I'm there's no other explanation.
So 4 years into my sobriety and being clean, I decided that I could drink.
Oh, that was horrible.
And that was probably like 2018, somewhere around there. And I thought I could do that. I thought that the drugs were the problem and that drinking was
Was
going to be
not.
okay.
Yep.
I was wrong. So that was a whole nother thing. It went on for about 2 years and I ended up getting a DUI and almost lost my wife over it, over the drinking, not the DUI. The DUI was probably the best thing that could have happened.
Yes.
It was the
Yes.
drinking that I almost lost her over, and getting the DUI stopped it. So that was another situation where God used that DUI, something that was bad, as a blessing that got me back on track and helped me to realize that drinking was an addiction the same as the drugs were, if not worse, because it
Yeah.
was more socially acceptable and
Right.
easy.
Yeah, you were fun when you were drinking is what everybody said.
Hmm.
And everybody other than me said it's not gonna work. You can't do it. And I think I probably prayed the most I've ever prayed in my life was during that time.
When I was
And
drinking,
yep. And all I kept praying was, please God, if something has to happen for him to hit his knees to realize, don't let him take anybody's life, and please don't let him take his own. That was my prayer.
I was probably pretty close to both of those
Yep.
that night.
That night you called.
So,
So once again, it's a God thing. He knew what you had to go through, but he walked through it with you
mhm.
and never left. So glory be to God, and I won't ever quit saying that.
That's where we're at today. So 2 years later from that, now I've been, was it March 15th of this
Hmm.
year, was 2 years sober. So I'm 8 years clean from the drugs and 2 years, over 2 years sober from alcohol now. So in that 2 years, the amount of change we've seen for my wife and I moving forward here with everything that God's done for us has been incredible. Financial blessings and just a life we're proud to have. A life that's pretty cool. I like it.
Hmm.
Are you
I I'm very happy for you. I am very, very happy.
So, what would you say to other mothers out there that have a child that's
Don't ever give up.
in an active addiction?
Don't ever give up. But learn how to love them without enabling them. Because giving them the money or giving them the means to get the drugs isn't helping them, it's hurting them, but don't give up on them. Always tell them you love them, even though deep down inside you're probably hating what they're doing, but don't ever give up because it'll work and pray. Just because sooner or later you'll hear it and it'll change your life. Never give up. Never.
Well,
That was something Ashley. She'll remind me. She'll say, "Do you remember that day you told me to take the kids and leave?" And I said, "Oh yeah, I do." And that was before the girls were. That was before he was out because I was worried he was going to go back to the same behaviors, and that those two little girls deserved not to see that. And she kept always telling me, "Nope, I'm going to back him. I'm staying." Okay, hope you know what you're doing. And we talk about it. I always tell her, "Thank you for not giving up on him." Because I think life would have been a lot worse. A lot.
well,
So to parents out there, just never give up. Never give up.
I think that's pretty sound advice. Never stop. Never stopping. Yeah. Well, I know you and Ashley believing in me was what I needed to believe in myself. The love that you guys had for me was enough to make me see that I was worth something and know that I had a reason to be alive, a purpose to be here. I was very suicidal in my active addiction, and I didn't think there was any reason for me to be alive other than drugs and hurt and pain that I was causing. And I knew that it would cause pain if I took my own life, but I also believed that that pain would be less and like a quicker done and over with pain than had I kept going. I really didn't think that I could stop. I didn't really believe in myself there. So when mom says never give up, it was because they didn't give up on me that I was able to pull through it and be the person I am today, which isn't that bad. I'm okay today.
Mhm. You're good.
I'm good. You heard it. She said I'm good. I'm good.
You're good today.
I work hard and take care of my family and try to help as many people as I possibly can. So I think if you can do that in life, you'll be okay.
Mhm.
And other people will consider you okay, except for the ones that are going to accuse you of selling drugs. Those ones can all suck it. So we're at about 45 minutes. Is there anything else we want to talk
Yes,
about?
I want to talk about the podcast where you talked about family night at RJ and Sandy's.
RJ and Sandy's. Yep.
Your comment was your mom and dad drank. I did not drink.
Mom
I
didn't drink.
stayed sober to drive him home because he drank. I had 11 people contact me after that podcast. And they were like, "You drank?
Mom
You
didn't drink.
drank?" And I was like, "I didn't drink. I didn't." My niece called me and left me a message. She's like, "How did I not ever see that?" And I was like, "What are you talking about?" I called her back and we talked and she laughed. And I was like, "I haven't watched the podcast yet, but I will be." So, just for the record, I didn't drink.
I think I said mom and dad drank.
Yes, yes. And
So
everybody caught it.
mom hung out, dad drank.
Yes, yes, yes. And it was important to Sherry. Sherry's like, "You need to have him do a retraction on that." I was like, "We're doing a podcast. I will say something to him." So, no, I did not drink.
I think I was more focused on the chili cheeseburgers and chili cheese fries.
It was our family night,
It
though.
was our
It
family
was.
night,
I
yeah.
mean, that was
And
our
not
family
I
night.
don't I can't like picture a time when you actually drank.
Nope.
I just know that you had wine coolers.
I can count on one
You probably
hand
had a
how
six
many
pack of
times.
wine coolers that stayed in the fridge for a year and a half or 2 years.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yep. So,
I just remember stealing wine coolers.
yeah,
So
yep.
it was probably because they sat in the fridge for so long.
Yep.
I was like, you know what? She's never gonna
I'm never
notice.
gonna notice,
She's
which I
never gonna
probably never
notice.
did. But
So
so there it is, Sherry. I brought it up.
Sherry, thank you. Thank you for listening and being a part of the men behind the mic.
Yes,
Which Sherry's a huge part
she
because
is.
when I was in jail, she was there for me. She was there for
Yep,
me. She was there for Ashley. She was there for the kids.
yep,
There
yep.
were a lot of times that I probably wouldn't have been able to see my wife if it wasn't for Sherry opening up her
Mhm.
home to our family,
She
and
would be a good guest.
I would love to have her on.
She would be a
She's
good guest.
actually told me that she deserves an episode, and she absolutely does. She deserves more than one. I mean,
Yes,
there's a lot. I don't know if Sherry and I would be able to do this. So in an hour, we'd be
probably not.
we'd have to cut
You'd
it
yeah,
off. We'd
you'd
need
have to
like a
do a
mediator. We'd
couple of
have to have
them.
Matt in here. Actually, Matt wouldn't even do it either. We'd need someone else that cuts the films here. Just cuts us off at a
Yeah,
certain point because the
she'd be a good one.
yeah,
She really would be.
she's
But yeah,
been through a lot.
yeah,
She's had a heck of a life here too.
yes, with addiction.
Yeah.
So, and
She
she
is a huge person that helped me with my faith. So we did what was it? Overcomers Outreach,
overcomers outreach.
which
Yep.
is like a Christ based 12-step program.
12 step. Yep.
And that was awesome for me because I love the program, but I have such a hard time with the way that they word some of the things in there, saying that you can have a rock as a higher power. It was really tough for me. So to believe in Jesus and to believe that Jesus is God and that's like what changed me to believe that and then to hear that these people are praying to rocks and doorknobs was really 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 frustrating for me. So to have a
Yes.
program where Jesus is the higher power of that program is pretty cool.
Yep.
So I always tell people, yeah, you can have a higher power. You have to have a higher power to work a program. But if you're going to have a higher power, why wouldn't you want the highest
Highest.
power?
Yep.
I
Yep.
mean, you can put anything above you and call it a higher power if you
Mhm.
want, but there's only one highest power.
Good way to put
So that's my
that. Good
thing. If
way.
you want to pray to a rock, go for it. But last time I checked, rocks don't answer prayers. So God
Nope.
does. Even if it's no.
Yes.
How many times God said no
Even
to
if
my
it's
prayers? He
not
says
the
no.
answer you want,
He answers all your prayers,
he
even if it's
answers.
no.
You're right. I
I
will
get a
agree with
no
that.
from him a lot. God, I really want this. No. Dang it. Dang it. But a lot of the times, if you're hearing a lot of no's to your prayers, it's because you're not asking for the right stuff.
You're not praying for the right answers.
You're not praying for the
Mhm.
right thing.
Yep.
So
Agree.
Is there that story of a little boy who once keeps asking his dad for, I don't know, something. He keeps asking for something, and the dad keeps saying no, no, no. But the dad's got like this brand new bike for him. The kid's asking for like a little tiny teddy bear or something, and his dad keeps saying no, but he's got a brand new bike for him that he just wants to give to him, but he's waiting for him to ask for the brand new bike. So until the little boy asks for the brand new bike,
He
he's
does
gonna
something
keep getting
else.
a no. So keeps asking for little stuff, little stuff, little stuff, but then he's got that bike for him. It's kind of how God works sometimes.
Mhm. Yeah.
So, so I just started asking for everything. We're, I might get a lot of no's, but when I do get them yeses, boy,
Oh.
gave me a pretty cool mom. So I definitely wouldn't be here doing what I'm doing with the life I have if it wasn't for you.
I'm glad you made it to this point because there were times when I didn't think you would,
Well,
but you did.
look at you. You were
Yeah.
wrong. I'm here.
I'll agree to be wrong on that one, but like I said, my prayers were answered. So
With a yes?
yes,
You got a
with a
yes on
yes,
this
I
one?
got a yes on
It
this
was
one.
no, not yet, not yet,
Not
no,
yet. I
not
don't think
yet,
he's
not yet,
ready. I
no,
don't
not
think he's
yet.
ready.
And now.
And then I started praying. Okay, do I keep throwing this money away? Because that's what I felt like I was doing.
How many cars years did I?
3.
3?
Yeah. Oh,
3
3. And multiple
other people's cars.
other cars that I paid for and multiple treatments. Yeah, I'd have quite a nest egg right now.
So we're gonna start a GoFundMe page. It's gonna be uh bless Lance's mom, pay Lance's mom back for Lance's bad stuff.
Yeah,
I don't know. We'll figure something out. We're gonna do a fundraiser of some sort,
yeah, let's
a GoFundMe. We're gonna send you to Cabo or something.
yeah,
We're gonna send
yeah,
you on a vacation
yeah.
as a big thank you for not giving up.
Yeah, I didn't give up.
So
There's no give up,
nope,
no give.
nope. So if you or someone you know is struggling with addiction, just know that giving up shouldn't be an option. It can get better, and it might get worse before it gets better, but it can definitely get better. And you are in charge of how much worse it has to get before it gets better. So people can change no matter how many times they fail. You can change. And I think I am some proof of that,
Yes.
that people can change no matter what. So no matter
Yep.
how late in life, no matter what it is, you can change. You can be better. You can do more with your life. So in 8 years, I went from that person that I was, that nobody liked to be around, to who I am now, which there's only some people that don't like to be around now. So for the most part, I'm pretty solid.
Mhm.
So we're going to end this one here and just say thanks again to Mom for being such an amazing mother and helping me be who I am today, because I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So happy
My
Mother's
pleasure.
Day.
Thank
I
you.
love you.
I love